Youorns. Greetings, fellow Watford fans. Omar here, and it's time for another edition of the YouOrns 10-minute take on Preston North End 1, Watford 5, a flying win for your Hornets over the weekend at Deepdale, a place where they don't normally win. They did get a win there a couple of years ago. João Pedro's penalty decided things in 2021. But this game was a whole different animal from that one. Watford in this game really stamped their authority on the game. But that came in the second half. In the first half, it was a wild open affair from end to end. Watford were really trying to get a grip with the pace of the game because it was vacillating going from this way to that way. They did get their hooks in, although it wasn't until after Preston scored first where Watford, I thought, were at their most dangerous and most dynamic. Preston North then scored roughly before the 24-minute mark or thereabouts, whenever it was, and they were off to a flyer and looked like they were going to score two, three, four more goals in that first half. But it was Ben Hamer who, throughout the first half, put on a masterclass of goalkeeping, a really good goalkeeping clinic from Hamer, who really now has owned this number one shirt for Watford over these last few weeks since Daniel Backman's suspension and return. Ben Hamer has been the one who has shown you that he has the leadership and the skills and the confidence to be the Watford number one goalkeeper. And he showed it in this game against Preston with some excellent point blank range saves. In fact, there are a couple of them in succession in both the first and in the second half, if I remember correctly, that were completely, just outstanding stuff from him. Hamer is showing you the confidence, and as I said, he is growing into the position and doing well. This is only, I think, his seventh or eighth appearance in a Watford shirt since he's been here over the last year and a half, 2 years. And he's had to sit on the bench and wait his turn for a long time behind Daniel Backman. And Ben Hamer was not getting a look in any of these games. And now he is grabbing the chance to do so. And he's taking that chance with authority, relish, and as I keep saying, a great deal of confidence. But he was not the only player who was so important in this game, and Watford fans voted him the man of the match overall in the Watford FC poll. There are at least three other players that you could pick from in this really good win for Watford, whether it was Ismail Kone or whether it was the likes of Ido Kayembe. The K and K boys did an excellent job in midfield in this game. Both of them assisted and both of them got goals, which is really fitting for the hard work that they always put in, but especially in this game where they were especially good. And also you can look at someone the likes of Vakun Bayo. Some of the Watford fan base get on his case. I just don't know why. Is it just because he's not scoring enough goals? Well, look, the bottom line is he's only scored one goal less now than Rajovic has. And Bio works his socks off and he's multi-dimensional and he gets up and down the pitch. He tracks back. He's a good link-up player. He's somebody who does hold up the ball as best he can. And he is very unselfish and he always works for the team, not just for himself. He works for the team. Team first for him. You can see it in every effort that he makes. There are games where he disappears, but he tries to affect things when his game does not work in front of goal. But his game worked very well in front of goal in this game against Preston. He got two goals, both of them well taken efforts. The second one, the finish on that was sublime. And I was wondering if it was going to hit the post. He curled the ball in and it was just superbly done. Bio brimming with confidence as well, finding the target. Bio, his professionalism has been very good. It's been extraordinary this season. He has not started a lot of these games lately, especially during this run now, which is 12 games now, and they've lost just twice in the 12 games. And again, these two losses that they had in the 12 games, Ipswich and Leicester City. You can't really look that gift horse in the mouth. I mean, it's two teams that are both the top two teams in the division, Leicester and then Ipswich. Those are the only two losses that Watford had in these last 12 games. And during that time, Bio has not started most of those games. And for Bio to come off the bench, or at least to start the game, after being on the bench on a number of occasions and score those two goals, not only speaks to his professionalism and his excellence and the way that he handles the situation, but also sends a message to Val Ishmael and says to him, Gaffer, I'm ready. Start me. I think that it's very hard to argue that Bio somehow doesn't merit a start for the game against Blackburn this weekend up in Lancashire. Again, that's where they're traveling, Watford. I think it's very hard to argue that Bio should not get a start. First of all, the team won, and second of all, he scored twice and really showed you the way that he plays when he's in a two or by himself. Hard to take him out the lineup. He's versatile. He's the most versatile. He's the most versatile striker that Watford have. And when you look at the way that Watford played this game, especially in the second half of the game, Watford just really showed you who they were. Now, they equalized in this game before halftime, and it was, I don't even remember, there was four goal scorers. One of them was Vakun Bio. He scored the first of his two goals in the game, and that goal came in the first half, roughly around the 40th minute mark or whenever it was. And Bio scored, really good finish from him, 1-1. The game was poised there and then. In the second half, Watford really turned on the afterburners and began to turn the tide in this game. And as Ben Hamer stabilized the game with all his great saves, Watford began to get a grip of a game that was still very much open in the second half. I thought that Watford were much more dynamic. They took the bull by the horns and absolutely gained control of both the tempo and the energy of this game. And they really ran out winners very easily. You could have sensed Watford had the confidence that they had in the second half because of the way they were attacking. And literally about 12 seconds into the second half, it was a really good through ball from my pick for man of the match, Kone, who drove the ball straight into the path of an ongoing Matthias Martins, who started, and I thought he was also very good. And Martins made no mistake with the finish to give Watford a lead that they would never relinquish as they continued on. It was 2-1 at that point, and I thought Watford, once they scored that second goal to make it 2-1, early on, literally 12 seconds into the second half, I thought from there was never going to be a doubt about who the winner was going to be. Watford then built on that lead. They game managed well. And what I thought was very effective about Watford was the way they defensively set up, much more stout, much more disciplined as opposed to the first half where they did really not mark well on that first goal, that the only goal that Preston scored. But Watford showed you real character in the second half. And as I say, once that second goal went in for Watford, you could sense that the tide was turning, the game tempo and the rhythm was turning Watford's way, and Watford actually got a hold of the game and controlled the game. And they did that through the way that they played the ball, through the way that they marked, through the way that they looked through the channels, and the way that the midfield comported itself. And they just imposed their game on Preston in their building. And I thought that that was a really mature thing about Watford, because against Ipswich, they were a little naive. We were a little naive, made a few key mistakes at moments. But in this game, I think Watford really grew up again, and the maturity and the consistency of the performances are what I think are coming through now in this team. And Watford would go on, of course, to score those other three goals after the Martins goal in the second half. And then Kayembe had a go. I mean, they all started to go in. Bio scored his second. And of course, as well, Kone got a goal as well, well deserved. And he celebrated with such relishing glee. Kone, I believe that's his second or third this season now. Kayembe has three this season. And Martins has, I think, 5 or 6 goals this season. Rajovic, who played in the second half, has 7 this season. Bio has 6 this season. And look, you can see it. I said this before. The goal scoring now is being shared amongst a number of different Watford players. As I said earlier on in the season, you'd see it from Bio and Martins. Those would be typically your goal scorers, and Rajovic. Now you've got Bio, Rajovic, Martins, you've got Kone, Kayembe, you had Wes Hoot from several games ago. So you've got now different goal scorers, and that makes Watford a really good threat in this game and in any game. And also, one of the things you've got to look at with Watford, and this game personified it, was the discipline and the way that Watford approached the second half. They didn't give up any late goals, didn't panic, good game management all the way through, especially in the second half. They went through phases and stages, did very, very well. And the midfield was rock solid. Livermore, really important performance there from him. I thought that the right back TDB. He was put in the right back position, starting the game. I thought he did very well. He was a good table setter there. That's not really his customary position, but he played really a fullback role there at right back. And I thought he did very well. I thought he helped stretch the pitch. I thought he helped speed the tempo of the game. Watford moved the ball a lot quicker, especially in the second half, than they had done in some of these games. And again, it amounts to a mature, composed, confident away performance. And we're getting these now consistently from Watford. This men's team is now consistently delivering good, solid away performances. And they're not wilting from the occasion. Their heads are not dropping in these games away from home as they were earlier on at the beginning of the season. Watford are showing you real character on the road. They were down 1-0 in this game against Preston, and they could have felt sorry for themselves, but they didn't. They scored five unanswered goals. And that's something that you really have to look at, the strength and confidence of this side and the leadership positions that are taken on the pitch in multiple areas are, I think, some of the biggest reasons why Watford are having the success that they're having at the moment. And also because of the manager. Can't overlook the manager here. Val Ishmael has absolutely created a template and an identity for these young lads to follow and grow into. And they're buying in and they're believing. And you're beginning to see that from the way they're playing these games. Watford now are beginning to develop a reputation, especially away from home, of being mentally tough and resilient. Now, they have also done the same at Vicarage Road as well. We've seen that at the Vic with the games where they came back against Norwich, came back against Southampton as well. And there are other instances this season where Watford have done that. To win 5-1 away from home at Preston, where it's very difficult to win at Deepdale, that is really a stunning achievement. And Preston, a team that was above Watford, is still above Watford as I record this, probably did not know what hit them. They looked so shell-shocked in the game after Watford scored that second and then scored the third and then the fourth and then the fifth. They were absolutely crestfallen. Watford bounced back well, showed great character after losing at home against Ipswich to come back and get 5 goals and a 5-star salute for your Hornets. Absolutely really good stuff. This has been the YouOrns 10-minute take.